Erik, there are no Vegas lines out there, but I'm asking you the question. Over under 1.5 interceptions for Deshaun Watson this weekend.
Think I'd have to take the over. The Browns are playing the Bears. Football is back, baby. And even though it's only preseason, there is a lot to watch out for in our brown and orange.
Yeah, there is. And I think we should just kick it off where we always should probably kick it off when you're in the position that we are. And that's the quarterback battle. Because if you've been living underneath a rock, Deshaun Watson was named the starter for the Bears game tomorrow. Shedeur will start the following week against the Bills. And then maybe we'll have an answer as to who will be the week one starter for the Cleveland Browns. But you could see here that the Browns themselves announced it. And I want to talk about this just for a second, Erik, because me and you were joking. I also put a tweet out about it and tagged you in it about how I thought maybe Todd Monken was just going to be petty. And by the time we were sitting down to watch the game, he wasn't going to announce and we would just find out when the starting quarterback trotted out on the field. Are you surprised that Todd did not tell the media who the starter was before practice? And are you surprised by how this whole thing has played out so far?
No, I think we've learned to accept the eccentricities, if you will, of Coach Monken. And I think he was just simply sick of being asked the question. I think that's the only reason he didn't say. Everyone knew it was Deshaun Watson. We talked about it. You talked about how they weren't going to trot him out for at home for obvious reasons. Like, I think eventually they'll have to cross that bridge, depending on how this preseason goes. But it was very clear that this was Deshaun Watson's game. And because of that, I don't think it was a question. I just think Todd Monken was getting sick of getting asked the question, frankly.
I think Todd Monken, I think the quarterback room is sick of being asked the question about this quarterback. Like I just saw before hopping on here that Shedeur apologized to the media for being frustrated
Yeah.
about being asked a question about this quarterback competition. So I get it, and I'm there. I think we're all kind of there being frustrated and over the conversation of this quarterback competition, but I think this is ultimately the right call for multiple reasons for this quarterback competition. I think it puts Deshaun Watson in a space to succeed because of the fact that he won't be being booed by his own home fans. I think it puts Shador in a space to succeed because he'll be playing in front of home fans that love him for the most part. I know there's some of the fans that are sick of the Shador mob, but I think a majority, based off of the reaction I've seen, love Shador. We'll see that next week. And in the same breath as well, I think this will shake out with them being in the best positions possible to succeed. I like this for Shador because it's almost like you get to pick to kick or receive in the second half, and Shador gets to receive in the second half and see what he has to work up against with whatever Deshaun does against the Bears tomorrow in Chicago.
Yeah, unless there are higher machinations that, we're not accounting for, it should be clear that whoever succeeds the best and looks like a true QB product in these preseason games is probably going to get the nod as starter come week one. So they both have an opportunity to go ball out and do what they do. Do I think that that's going to fall in Shador's favor? Yes, I do, based on everything I've seen so far. But maybe, who plays on these teams, meaning our opponents, who's playing defensively, that could make an impact as well.
It could make an impact as well because one of the main headlines coming out of this whole thing is that the Bears will sit a number of their starters in our game, including quarterback Caleb Williams. I don't think that's much of a surprise when it comes to the Bears themselves because of the fact that they're more in a win now window than we are. Like, we need to see our young players, our starters play. They're in a position where they made a playoff run last year and they looked good, and Caleb Williams came into his own. So I understand why they're not starting them in this game. I wonder what that will look like for Deshaun Watson. Like, is that going to be a hindrance in people's mind, whether that be the coaches, the fans, or whoever, because he didn't play against some of the starting team at all, either against their defense or, having to drive against an offense that was really good in 2025? That's an interesting question for me, but we will see as this game continues to play out.
Yeah, and we don't know what that means. We don't. A number of starters could mean, the quarterback, the running back, the starting left tackle. It doesn't mean that the whole starting defense is sitting on the bench. So we just can't know until they're actually playing, which will be interesting. I hope that the majority of the defense is out there for both him and Shador. Like, I want to see first team reps for our team against first team reps against another team. Otherwise, like, what are we doing in preseason? Like, I understand the idea is to get tuned up and really to cut down the roster. That's a lot of it. But if you're having a series, like there should be some sort of agreement coach wise, like coach to coach. Hey, we're gonna play our ones for 2 series or for a quarter or for 2 quarters. Play your ones for those 2 quarters. And I know there's injury concerns, but otherwise, like, what's the point? Like, how can we properly evaluate? What if, Deshaun Watson goes out there is playing against the twos and throws 4 touchdowns? I don't know if that actually tells us anything at the
Right.
end of the day.
No, 100%. And that is an important thing to note on our end as well, because Spencer Fano was asked that exact thing. How many series, how many reps do you think you guys are going to get? And his quote was, I have no idea. We haven't been told yet. Now, is that actually the case? Or did Todd say, don't tell the media so that way we aren't tipping our head to the Bears or whatever that looks like? Who knows? I don't know. But I don't expect our starters to play a ton. I think Deshaun Watson's going to play a ton. Todd Monken himself basically said Deshaun will start a half this game. Shedeur will start a half next game, and they'll take it there from where it's at with this quarterback competition. So we know Deshaun will probably get a mix with some twos and threes in terms of who he's playing and who he's playing with. But that is where we're at right now. Like, what do you expect? Here's a good question. What do you expect? How long do you expect to see the starters in this game for the Cleveland Browns?
I would say I wanna say, like, 2 quarters, and I that sounds like a lot, but I think it's just because of this QB battle that they'll get an extended look. I don't know about Fano, I don't know about, guys like Casey and Denzel, but if you're a rookie, like, I think you want reps. Like, Fano has never had true game speed reps at the NFL level. So, to get him ready for week 1, if we're assuming he's gonna be our left tackle starter, which I think we are, like, he
Yeah.
needs these reps in my opinion. Denzel and KC, not so much. I mean, I think they're more of a timing issue with quarterbacks. But we know what they have. Like, they need to run and they need to run routes and they need to catch the ball. Like, I don't necessarily know that they need as many reps as like a Fano, like going up against a number one defensive lineman or defensive back. But they do need reps because they just haven't had it at this level at this speed. So I would say a half of football you could expect. It could be a quarter, but I think they want to give Deshaun Watson a little bit of a look to understand, who he is. I mean, we've seen it before, of course, but in light of this newer QB battle, so they can make a proper decision.
Yeah, I think it'll be a quarter. I think you're being very, very optimistic with it being 2 quarters. Like, I just don't think that's going to be the case with the Browns in terms of this quarterback battle and everything. Like, the quarterbacks will because they need to sort them out and figure it out. But I think they want to give the rookies like Casey, like Denzel, like Fano the reps, but not overdo it where they're risking health and, what is more important at the end of the day, the regular season, which is why I think it'll be a quarter for majority of the starters, at least the starting rookies, and then it'll kind of dwindle off, and we'll see some more of that second team, third team, fourth team practice squad,
But
the punting coach playing some receiver. You know how preseason goes.
what you're not accounting for is what the other team does. If the Bears put together a 10-minute drive in the first quarter, then, they're not going to leave just a couple minutes to Deshaun. I think that matters too.
Yeah, there's volatility to it for sure. Like, I'm not saying it's for sure in Todd Monken's head that they will play, but a quarter worth of playing time. You know what I mean? We're gonna play our ones with their first unit and then kind of go from there and see what they do and decide what we'll do in terms of substitution and whatnot. I want to talk, Erik, a little bit about what our expectations are for this game, what else we're looking for aside from just the news. But first, let's take a break and listen to a word from our sponsor.
At the Office is brought to you by Rambler Reserve.
And we're wearing the hats right now.
We are wearing the hats right now, and honestly, this might be one of the best looking things I've put on my head in years.
Rambler Reserve is a Cleveland apparel brand based on history for people who love this city and just can't shut up about it.
So, us?
Us, exactly. Whether it be hats, tees, hoodies, you're going to the game, or you're going to the Muni lot. It's perfect apparel for any Cleveland fan out there.
If your friends say you ramble too much about sports, just own it. Head on over to ramblerreserve.com and use code ATO10 to get 10% off your order.
That's ATO10. ATO like at the office 10, ramblerreserve.com.
I want to get back into it, Noah, and I want to talk about expectations like you were talking about, what we actually expect to see. And since we talked about him so much, what do we expect to see from Deshaun Watson? Let's start there.
Yeah, I expect to see a little bit of rustiness, if I'm being honest. Like, I know he's had some good practices, but I also know what I've seen in terms of him at game speed. Like, that's just what he is in my mind. Until he goes out there and shows me different, I expect it to not look good. I expect it to not be exciting football. So I think there's going to be some rustiness. And in his case, for his case, I hope for the best that he doesn't look like that. But that's my expectation right now. I think it's going to be rusty, rough, not great quarterback play, but maybe we're going to tailor together a script that, makes him look good with check downs and play action, stuff that he can easily work on to get into the motion of a game and to gain confidence in a game.
I expect the exact opposite. I have zero empirical evidence to this. We've seen him play in live reps. It hasn't been good over the years, but this is do or die time for him. It's do or die to get a starting job. It's do or die to potentially get a contract moving forward after this year with any team, because who's going to take the risk on him right now? I don't think anybody really is. So it is completely do or die. I just have this feeling, this gut feeling, and I don't believe in Deshaun. I want to make that very clear, but I have this gut feeling that he's gonna go ball out for some reason.
Hey, for your sake, because we have bets on the line for this, friendly bets here on the show, dumpling bets, whatnot. I hope you're right for your sake. For my sake, for my mental health sake, for everything else that's going on here, I really hope you're wrong because I just don't think he has it anymore. That's what I've been saying all off season. And this is our first true test, right? In less than 24 hours, we're going to get our first two true test and see what Deshaun Watson is. And I'm not expecting much. That's my
Here
honest truth.
here's the thing though, like, I don't care about the dumpling bet. Where I find it odd for you to take that stance is you say, he doesn't have it. I think he's done. He's washed. But if he goes out there and proves the opposite, if he strings together 3, 4 games where he doesn't look rusty, where he doesn't look washed, where he's actually playing well, I think you have to reevaluate that position and say, okay, he's playing good quarterback play. And again, I do not expect this to happen. I want to make that clear. But okay, he's playing good quarterback play. Like your whole position on him is that he's done, he's washed, etc. But if he's not, if he has football left in him, I dislike him for a multitude of reasons, but like I'm willing to evaluate based on current playing performance. I don't care about the past right now. It impacts how I view it a little bit in my perspective because we've seen him and we've seen what he isn't. But that doesn't mean he can't come around because we've seen other players what they aren't. We saw a guy that just won a Super Bowl that's been traded around the league because he wasn't. So again, I don't disagree with you, but I think we need to evaluate him and his performances based on the performances and not past performance.
Oh, I agree 100%. Like, I will flip my tune if he actually goes out there and does the unthinkable in my mind and strings together 5, 6 games of high level quarterback play. But in my mind, that is so asinine to think it will actually happen based off of what I've seen so far that I am not going to change my tune based off of a half of a preseason game or say he plays a quarter in the next preseason game and then a couple drives and then he starts. Like, it has to be a string of meaningful football where he actually looks competent. And we haven't even seen that in practice. He'll have a good day, then he'll have a bad day, then he'll have a great day, then he'll have an okay day. Like, and I get that it's practice and I get that's how it is. And Shador's doing the same thing, but he's a veteran and we've seen him do good in practice and go out there and give us what he's given us multiple times in the orange and brown through multiple seasons since we made the trade. So until he proves me wrong, I will sit here and have zero hopes, zero expectations, and thoughts of him just looking like a rusty, old, washed up quarterback. Like, that's just what it is. That's how it is in my mind. I want to change tune. I want to change tune because I don't want to go down the quarterback rabbit hole for the entire episode. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the other roster pieces, right? What else are you looking for in this preseason game? What are some things that you're excited to see?
There's only 4 names that I really care about. It's Spencer Fano. I want to see him get real reps and see how he does on that left side of the line. I think that's such an important piece for us that I don't want to overlook it. And I think he is the puzzle piece, but I want to see it in live game action. We talked about it. Our 2 receivers, Denzel Boston, I'm particularly excited to see. Casey Concepcion as well. Like, I want to see them making plays and going out and showing that we have threats because that could also affect this QB battle, by the way. And then I'll steal your thunder a little bit because I'm sure you're going to talk about him. But Emmanuel McNeil Warren, he was the steal of the draft. Honestly, one of the steals. We had a few, and he could be like a very cornerstone piece of this defense. So I'm excited to see what he does. Those are the guys that my eyes are on, and who I care about the most.
Yeah, so of course, secondary is important to me. We'll talk about that in a second. Wide receiver is the number one thing to me, though. Like, I want to see the rookies. I hope we get a little bit more time, selfishly as a fan, to see the two rookie wide receivers play, specifically Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion. I want to see that a ton. A player in that position group, rather, that I think is very underrated to pay attention to because he's going to come in later in the game is Cedric Tillman. We've talked about him on the page before. He was a high draft pick for us. He was a number one pick for us in terms of the order that we had. He was a third round pick, but it was our first draft pick. He is on the bubble, in my opinion. We've talked about it on the page before. It's not a crazy theory out there. I've written articles about this. I want to see what Cedric Tillman does because he's fighting for his life right now on this roster. And I want to see if he rises to the occasion and we could see a little bit of that flash that we did when Jameis Winston was his quarterback, or if he's going to float out on the bubble. That's one for me. And then I also want to look at the backup corners because that third cornerback spot is still wide open. It was Miles Harden last year. That seems to be the winner right now, but he wasn't fantastic. And I do think with how much nickel we run and how much the third corner is going to be out there, it's important to have someone that is at least worth the damn at that position.
Slight correction, nickel we ran because we don't know what defense we're going to see with a new coordinator. But yeah, fair point. To your point with Tillman, I like that. I really question Jerry Judy's spot on this team. I'm not saying like he's getting cut or anything like that,
You won't.
but we're seeing the same issues in practice still. Like he's still dropping balls. He's still losing 50-50 balls. Like we're still seeing the same shit that frustrates the hell out of us on Sunday. And how long will Coach Monken put up with that in live game reps until a guy like Tillman is replacing him out there?
Judy's an interesting one. He's going to be on this roster no matter what because of the contract construction that he does have. Like after this year, he can be cut. So he'll be here no matter what this
Right.
year. But I'm curious to see what that looks like because drops have been an issue for him yet again. You've said that, and that's totally correct. So that's another one to be interested in to look at for this preseason game, depending on how long he plays. I don't even know if they'll play him super long because he's a vet. There's one last thing I wanted to look at too, because there's an interesting storyline out there that I think could rile up some Browns fans, get them excited for the first quarter of this preseason game. And that's the fact that Jedrick Wills will be with the second team at left tackle for this game, which means he may be starting because, they're benching a lot of their starters for this game, which means we might get to see Jared versus Jedrick Wills. And I, for one, want to see the lazy tackle that has pissed us off for years upon years get put on his ass by our new edge rusher. What do you say?
We know exactly what Jedrick Wills is, and we know what he's not. What he's not is a starting left tackle in the NFL. I think that Verse, one of the best edge rushers, and he's going to be one of the best, but he's already like climbing heights. He will put him on his ass. So I do hope that we see that matchup. I don't know if we will or not. I have a feeling we won't for some reason, because I think Verse will be out of the game by the time Wills is in the game, sort of thing. Who knows? I could be wrong there. But that is exciting, and I think we'll see the same old typical Jedrick. If he's not committing penalties, then he'll be on his ass, exactly as you say.
Turnstile, baby, turnstile. That's what
Yeah.
we love to see out of Jedrick Wills, especially now that he's not rocking our colors and not trying to be our franchise left tackle like he was when we took him so high in Andrew Berry's first year here with the Cleveland Browns. What else are you looking for in this game, Erik? We've covered a lot in this video. I think there's a plenty amount of stuff. We could talk about the depth. I mean, D-tackle depth is a problem. That's something I'm looking forward to. There's so much you could cover talking about preseason football because the roster is so big. But is there anything else sticking out in your mind that you want to touch on before we wrap this thing up?
Not in particular that I can think of. I'm interested to see the special teams. I know that sounds crazy, but it's been a point of contention for us in years past. To see how they're playing, how coverages are, the kicking team, etc., punting, etc. Like I am excited to see some of that, because I think those are live game reps where it doesn't matter who they're going against necessarily, especially if you're kicking or whatever or punting. You're out there on an island, you're doing it right. So I think that'll be interesting to see. But other than that, yeah, I really don't care that much besides seeing live football, and wanting to see our guys. Like second half, I'll probably be talking more than watching kind of thing. I'm going out to watch this one. But other than that, like I'm just excited that football's back on our TV.
Well, don't forget, Shedeur Sanders is projected to have the third quarter to himself, and then we'll see what happens after that. But it might be Dylan Gabriel, who is a popular name right now with some Browns fans as well. So I think the second half will still be interesting, maybe not as interesting as the first half, but I think it'll be interesting nonetheless, especially if you're diehard Browns fans like me and Erik are. And on that note, let us know what you think. What are you expecting in this Browns preseason game? Let us know down below. If you're feeling froggy about it, leave us a voicemail 216-260-3433. Make sure to like and subscribe because we here at the office are covering all things Browns, Cavs, Guardians, all winter, summer, fall, spring long. And on that note, Erik.
The debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.